Hi, and welcome to the 2019 paper 2 of the Junior to Higher Level, and this is question 8. So as usual, if you want the set of notes I'm working off, just send me an email at shanetroy@gmail.com, and that email address should be in the description below. So question 8 here, it's worth 10 marks, A, B, and C marked together, okay, and it's probability. So the net below is folded to make a fair dice. Now a net is kind of any three-dimensional shape unfolded, okay, and all the sides of it touching. If you taught this, if you kind of folded one this way, and then the 7 kind of this way, and then the 8 would be the far side. So 3 would be on one side, 8 the far side. 1 would be facing the 7. The 5 would fold out on top, and the 4 would fold up in the bottom. And that would make your dice, okay? Your six-sided dice. Now they've got weird numbers, not 1 through 6 for some reason, but whatever. So part A says, what number will be opposite this number 7 on the dice? So if you think that you folded that in, you fold the 7 in, well, the 1 would be on the far side. Now that's testing your spatial reasoning, your ability to look at the three-dimensional shape and move it around and observe it, okay? The answer there should be 1, okay? Now the die is rolled once. Find the probability that the number rolled is greater than 6, okay? Now the answer to that on the next page, but what numbers are greater than 6? Well, 7 and 8 are. That's 2 of the possible 6 outcomes. So in the probability formula is the number of things that happen over the total number of things that could happen. Okay, so 2 things you're talking about, the 2 there on top. Okay, is the 2 numbers greater than 6. So there are 6 numbers, okay, 2 over 6, and that's your answer. Now we should always simplify if we can. So 2/6 is the same thing as 1/3. Careful if you turn that to a decimal, 0.333, whatever. You're not asked to round it. If you leave it as 0.3, you could get deducted. Depends on how strict the marking scheme is, because incorrect rounding. Okay, error. Anyway, part C there, the die is rolled 60 times. Okay, work out how many times you would expect an odd number to be rolled. Now, not all these numbers are odd or even, so there's odd number, odd number, odd number, odd number, then even and even. So there's 4 of the 6 numbers are odd. Okay, so the more times you roll the dice, the more closely this will happen. You'd expect, okay, 4 out of 6, which is the same thing as 2/3. You'd expect 2/3 of the 60 to be odd. So 2/3 of 60 is 40. Okay, and I've represented that there. Now that's part A, B, and C. Now part D here, okay, it says the following 3 terms are used when discussing experiments and probability. Outcome, sample space, and event. Write each of these terms in the table below to match each term to its description. So let's try it. Okay, the description here is the set of all possible outcomes of an experiment. Right, well, that's the sample space. The sample space is where you kind of draw or write down everything that can happen. Okay, so if I rolled a 6-sided dice, what's the sample space? Well, it's 1 and 2, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, or 6. Okay, so that's the sample space, whatever, that's there, sample S and S. Now, one possible result of an experiment, okay, the answers are here, be the outcome. To my mind, outcome and events sound very alike, okay? So a subset of the sample space, a collection of one or more outcomes. Okay. So the difference there is an outcome is what's the probability of rolling a 1? The outcome is 1. An event is what's the probability of rolling a number. Okay. So you might say in your terminology the probability of an event. Okay. Is the probability of rolling number. Okay. Whereas the outcome is the probability of rolling. I guess I use the example of 1. That difference might not be very clear, but that's I'm sure, in a sense, if you are doing study for junior honours, just a piece of advice would be to kind of get cards, whatever. You can get them in shops, whatever, and all the definitions as you go through the chapters. And I would have I've done this myself studying. You're trying to commit this to long-term memory, so that in the exam you're not trying to remember; it just comes naturally. The only way to do that is to memorize. And how you do that can be different for different people. What worked for me was to get cards and for each chapter or each topic to write down all the definitions and then common either like solutions to, let's say, for the slope of 2 points a slope between 2 points in coordinate geometry. And I'd have the formula, I'd have a sample one, and I'd have the definition. And as I was going somewhere or doing my study, I just would regularly look at these cards so that the content became second nature. I still like the quadratic formula, the minus b formula. I would probably forgotten my name when I get older, but I'll probably still remember that formula. It's one of these things you just committed to hardcore deep memory. Okay, the only way to do that is to memorize. Okay, so anyway, I think that's the end of question 8. So thank you, and see you on question 9.